Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on this planet of ours. Welcome to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, the first one that I'm hosting this season. I mean, it is typical, isn't it, that it has been the worst day at the office for us. However, Chris is off, enjoying himself. I'm sure tonight's not going to be as fun as he thought it was going to be. Um, and joining me is my podcast brother, Mr. Cook's Captain Cook. How are you, darling?
I'm getting by, hoping that this will provide some much needed, I don't know if relief is the right word, therapy, as Karen Russell says in the chat room. Thanks for joining us as always, Karen. But yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to need over the next 45 minutes, an hour or so.
Cathartic, I think the word is, that
Mm.
hopefully it'll be a bit cathartic for us. And joining us is our wonderful friend of the show, friend of us. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Mr. LL Cool J. James, welcome to the show.
Evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I wish it could be in better circumstances, but here we are. We just got to do what we got to do. So yeah, I'm ready when you guys are ready, and we'll try and make some light out of it. I mean, it's going to be bloody difficult, but
I know.
yeah,
Well, we're going to try.
we'll give it a try.
Imagine how I feel. I thought it was going to be a real happy podcast and really enjoy it because I haven't been on for a long time. And the last one I was on, I had COVID, so my brain was all over the place. But yeah, I think as a lot of people in the chat room, and thank you all of you joining us at 8:15 on a Saturday night after our team has lost. It is so lovely to have you here. Please send us your questions because we are going to get to it. And Cookie's my little admin assistant tonight, where I'm normally the admin assistant. He's going to start all your questions for later. I mean, look, I normally start with what do you think of the lineup, the first bit, da da da. And to be honest, I think we should just go right in, Cooks, because we all want to talk about the decision. I know your view on it, but I don't know James Below's view on it. I will just give you my view straight away. Okay. My view was that when he gave the yellow, I said, what's he giving a yellow for? It's either a red or nothing for me. A red because he's a goal scoring situation that he stopped. And to me, it's not a yellow card. And like Carl and I were arguing, and of course, it's all a football based his opinion, isn't it? About opinion. And then when it went on too long, the VAR, we all knew then what was going to happen. He'll go over to the screen, he'll give a red. And I posted it straight away that I thought it was a red. Unfortunately, Saliba took a risk, a silly risk, and it didn't pay off. None of the Arsenal players were arguing, and that was that. He was sent off. So my view is that it was silly. He shouldn't have done it. I will debate slightly that maybe it shouldn't have been a red because it was so far away from the goal, and there is that new rule that they have to look at the distance for a goal scoring opportunity. Would Ben White have got him? But for me, I'm not angry with the ref. But Cooks, I'll go to you, and then we'll come to James.
I can see both sides of the argument. Absolutely, I can. I mean, my first instinct when he pulled the yellow card out was, yeah, he's probably got that right. But then as soon as he's going to go over to the monitor, you just know what's going to happen. You know full well he's going to be given a red card for that. And you look back at it a couple of times and you think, if this was against us, I would probably be calling for a red card for that. And out of all the red cards we've had this season, because there's been a fair few already, that's probably the one that I'm going to be debating the least, because we can definitely debate for hours upon hours about the Trossard one, about the Declan Rice one. But this is the first one where I look at it, I'm like, well, it's a bit self-inflicted. It's so poor from Trossard. Who just puts it into no man's land. I mean, it's a dreadful pass back to Saliba. And Saliba's not really got much choice. He's kind of got to do something in that situation. I mean, the other alternative is, of course, to let Evan Nilsson run through in on goal and let kind of nature take its course. In hindsight, we probably all would want him to do that, but that's so much easier said than done. And then, of course, the other argument is that looking back at it on the replay, would Ben White have been able to cover and alleviate that goal scoring opportunity? I think the argument is it clear and obvious? You know, is it a clear goal scoring opportunity? I'm not sure it is. two reasons. It's so far out away from goal, and the other reason is that we've got Ben White on that other side that's coming in. And anyone that watched Ben White against Leroy Sané last season knows that although he'll tell you he's not the quickest, he's actually got quite a bit of pace about him, and he could have very well made that challenge. But like they said in the Sky Sports studio, you can't assume that referees are going to be like, well, he's a fast player, he'd have gotten back and made that challenge. So
Yeah.
I think it's harsh, definitely. But like I said before, if it was against us, I would want a red card for that. But Amanda, the thing I would point out is that we were pretty poor, and stale would be the word I would use up until that red card. And we did nothing after the red card either. And I don't think it had a huge impact on the result, if I'm being honest, because I just thought that wasn't a good Arsenal performance this evening.
We'll get to that, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. No one can deny that. What I will say is, James, do you have a different view on it or not?
No. I was surprised that he got given a yellow. I thought it was a red straight away, personally. So, yeah, I knew that would have been overturned. But I was shocked. Like I've just said, I was shocked initially that he produced a yellow to begin with. I thought Saliba's off. 100% he's off. So, yeah. And again, agree with Cookie as per I normally always do. I couldn't, to me, that made no impact on the game. I think we weren't good enough from way even before that incident happened. And then, yeah, there's just no reaction there either. And again, it goes back, sadly, to what I have said for the last couple of years about this manager, in that he's a reactive manager and not a proactive manager. And
Okay, so can I just touch on that, James? Because I wanted to bring this in. So with the starting lineup, do you think that we should have had 3 DMs, as in Rice, Partey, and Marino? That was something I wanted to talk to both of you about.
Marino's not a DM. Just because people on Twitter say he's a DM, he's not a DM. Last season, Amanda, he played one game at Sociedad as a number 6 because Zubimendi got taken off. He is not a number 6. He's an 8.
Okay, but he didn't play like that today.
Well, he didn't play as a number 6.
Okay, but do you think it was too conservative? Because I felt it was a little bit too conservative.
Him and Rice are 2 ball progressive players. One of them is a carrier of the ball and a progressive player. So the 2 things that worried me the most today when I saw that lineup were the 2 wingers. Because Trossard on his side and even Sterling on his side, they're not like Martinelli and Saka. Everyone will credit Martinelli and Saka for what they do going that way, but they bloody work really hard to protect the 2 that they've got behind them. That was Ben White's worst game in ages today because he was criminally exposed. He's not very good against fast or tricky wingers anyway, but because he didn't have Saka to help him, and then Saliba got sent off so early, which also helps him from being exposed, he looked like crap today because he was completely on his own against someone in Semenyo who we're actually looking at to bring in because of how good he is on the wing. But yeah, he got no support from Sterling and Trossard on the other side. Well, to be honest, Trossard, Declan Rice dug him out in his interview, and rightfully so. I mean, Rice didn't have a great game, but rightfully so, because what is that pass that he's doing to put Saliba in that situation in the first place?
Do you feel, and I often feel this, James, that Trossard is a super sub? I just don't like him starting games.
No, he's better coming off the bench. Yeah,
excuse me. And it's really strange, isn't it? He can be wonderful coming off the bench, Cooks, can't he? But when he starts a game, I find that he doesn't give us much, and I'm not sure why he's only effective off the bench and not when he starts.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a tricky situation today, though. I was really expecting Saka to be fine for this game, like given what Lee Carsley said that he could have played in the game against Finland. I just assumed it was going to be, probably wrongly assumed, that he was going to come back, be fine, not pictured in training as always happens, and then you see him in the starting 11. And I think it's too big of a miss in this Arsenal team to not have Saka, to not have Martinelli, and to not have Odegaard in the team. They're 3 of our most important players, and I just think we were really lacking in creativity today. Saka offers so much, Odegaard offers so much, and we just had no pace up top either. Trossard, for all the good stuff he does, has no pace. Sterling, can be pacey, but it's rarely an attribute that he uses in his game. And I just think, touching on the midfield about what you were saying before about it being a bit conservative, I get that Marino was lining up as an 8, but I feel like he's so similar to Declan Rice in the profile of 8 that he is. I just felt like it was very much a 4. It was a 4-3-3, but it was very much free as a line rather than, free. You've got a lone 6. You've got someone playing that kind of Granit Xhaka role on the left, and then you've got someone playing the Martin Odegaard role. They all kind of seem to be quite near each other. They all seem to be playing, dead across the midfield. I just feel we're really lacking that spark, that someone that's going to run at a defence. And Declan Rice was trying to do it as much as he possibly could. I think out of the 3 midfielders, he was the best one and the most creative. But we need someone like an Nwaneri in there to try and unlock these defences. And I will die on this hill, but he should have started against Southampton because, again, he came on today. I thought, he was full of vigour. And I think we're going to be kicking ourselves that we haven't given this guy an opportunity, because if he starts against Southampton, plays well, he could have started this game again today. And I just think we need that bit of creativity in the middle. And I worry about us playing this midfield too much because I just think it's just lacking. I don't think it's got much creativity in it at all.
And that's what I was saying about being conservative. But with regards to Nwaneri, he did.
Nwaneri.
I can never, honestly, and him, he's definitely got something. He's definitely going to be special, but maybe Arteta is managing that situation. With regards to Raya, James, you've always been one of his biggest fans. We all turned into his biggest fans, didn't we? I think that is the worst game for me for a long time that I've seen him play. That I felt like it was the Raya of 18 months ago, maybe. Well, not 18 months ago, but when he first started, maybe a year ago, he looked shaky. And I'm not sure why. What do you think about that? What do you think was the difference today? Because he's been outstanding since the beginning of the season.
For me, before today, he's arguably been my best player for me, just for how much he's bailed us out. I mean, as a team, if you really want to go through everything forensically with a knife, I think we've rode our luck this season quite a bit anyway.
Yeah, we have.
But him today, his best asset for me is the way that he distributes. But I have no idea today, for whatever reason, he kept putting his foot on the ball and then doing these Michael Jackson impression moonwalks of just dragging the ball back, dragging him and taking forever. Normally he's very quick and direct, right, bang, I'm going to you, bang, I'm going. And he just looked lost. He just looked completely lost, didn't know where to pass it, and every time he goes long, sadly for me, and I hate to go back on it, but when you take off Sterling, I know you said about he's not got the best pace, but that is your only real outlet in terms of pace out wide. You've took him off to bring a defender on, which again, for me, this is the wrong decision. I know we're probably going to go back to it and everything else, When you're pumping the ball to Kai Havertz like we were trying, Kai Havertz then, it's okay, you've got no one running in front of you and you've got no one really running around you. So when Kai Havertz wins that ball high, it's like, Kai, you've got to do a spin pirouette and then try and run in yourself. And that's never been that guy's game anyway. He lays it off to people, then he runs. He's never been someone that goes, I'm going to flick it over a head, I'm going to beat a man, I'm going to spit. That's not him. So it just completely, that mindset and that whole idea that set in, again, goes back to what I said earlier of, I can't understand with the manager how he thought that was the right thing to do. And that's where my biggest argument comes in for the game today is I don't understand what he thought was the right thing to do, and how those players who are a reflection of that manager thought that was the right thing to do.
I thought, just going back to Raya slightly, Cooks, I thought Raya was sloppy. That he did give one away that if the Bournemouth player would have, I mean, we could have been 1-0 down because of him, that's for sure. And I'm not going to go in on Raya because obviously he's outstanding for us. But today just seemed like none of them were at the races. Someone in the chat's put, do we think it's to do with the internationals? I do. But I also agree with WL about the fact that we've rode our luck a little bit. There have been times, haven't there? And for anyone that hasn't seen Declan Rice's interview, he's come out and spoken like a football fan. He's absolutely distraught. And good up on him. And they all praised him in the Sky studio. You've seen it? Have you seen it, Kirks? He literally has come out. We can't make mistakes like that. He's like talking like we would talk. But one of the red cards was his for slightly flicking the ball away. Look, we all agree that none of us think that was a red card. Today, you can see a lot of social media arguing. Most people don't think it was a red card. Most people think the distance from the goal and, the fact that the referee should have been allowed to make it because it's not a clear and obvious error, but you do have, and I will say this, Kirks, because, I'm starting to believe this, Jared Gillett on VAR, who is a Liverpool fan. And we play Liverpool next week. Now, you could just sit there and, rival fans go, oh, for God's sake, you will look for anything to, to look over the fact that your team didn't turn up today. But I don't know any VAR officials that are Arsenal fans. They all just seem to be Liverpool or United.
The one thing I'll say on that, aside from Jared Gillett being a Liverpool fan, and it was a really good point actually made by a friend of the show was in response to one of my tweets about the decision, was that what has made the referee change his mind when going to the monitor compared to what he's seen in real time, because he was right next to that decision.
Yeah.
What exactly is different in that screening that he's seen in the replay, aside from what has actually happened in front of his very own eyes in real time? If anything, he's getting more of a reason to stick to his on-field decision, because you can see, David Raya backpedaling, you can see Ben White coming in on the other side. So I do feel like in instances like that, VAR is having way too much of an influence on the game. And we're doing that thing that everyone was against. We're re-refereeing games. And it's such a harsh penalty to have a player sent off. I mean, I tweeted that, red cards are a serious punishment. And growing up watching football, you barely saw them. Like, they were very few and far between, because I think referees understood that they are absolutely detrimental to how a team plays and how the outcome of a game is. Whereas now it feels like you're seeing them all the time. Like, it's not just Arsenal. There were a couple of red cards that were handed out today as well. I think Fulham got one, Aston Villa got one. So it does seem to be like the threshold for a red card is exceedingly low at the minute. And just because we've had we're averaging practically a red card every other game at the minute in the Premier League, it feels like the threshold for Arsenal is even lower. So I think as much as it's on the referees, it's also on ourselves to navigate these situations a bit better. Because at the minute, our discipline has been so good the past 2 seasons. It was pretty poor the season before that, I think 21-22, when we seemed to get a lot, when Gabriel Martinelli got those 2 yellow cards in quick succession. We seemed to be getting red cards all the time that season. We've had 2 really good seasons of brilliant discipline, and it all seems to be going up in the air again. So hopefully we can get this patch out the way. We learn from our mistakes, and we just don't give the referees any single opportunity to make a decision.
No, and that's what Declan said. You need to watch the interview. As you said, we can't give the referee decisions like that. But I tell you what was pointed out, both Arteta and Declan said about Martinelli's miss, James. LL, sorry. He scores that, it's a different game, because from that they go and score. And he should have done better. I really, truly believe that. He should have done better. But we missed him. We missed Saka. We missed Erdegaard. We really missed Saka. And the thing is, someone's just put on, we might as well put that question up as well. Let me go to the questions a second. Karen Russell. Hi, Karen. Do you think that the international break had a part to play due to some players not coming back early enough and not fit? I'm sick of it, to be honest. What's your take on the international side of it, James?
Every team, most teams have international players in, so it's a silly, ours are the ones that have got injured and everything else like that. But yeah, every team has to deal with the international break. So I'm not having that as an excuse. Again, going back to it, you look at the way the game state is, and the indication with that substitution that was incorrect. set the rot into a team that already had a bit of a rot set into it. It just goes into line up. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Line up was wrong. Sub was wrong. Game mentality from players was wrong.
So talk about the lineup then. Who would you have had instead of who?
Well, I just think those two wingers, it was too risky. I'm not Gabriel Jesus' biggest fan, especially when it's in front of goal. But one thing I will say is he'll give you the huff and puff like Saka does in protecting a fullback. I think today, playing Sterling and Trossard out there, it weren't right. And Martinelli, when he come on, you're spot on. His miss, it's a brilliant save. I won't discredit Kepa there for the save. However, he's shown him his eyes way too early. He's shown him his intention straight away.
Yeah.
But when Martinelli come on, in the first 2.5 minutes when he come on, Calafiori played that little free kick to him and he had the cross in the box. He was better than Trossard within 2 minutes. And you can say, oh, yeah, but he might not have been fully fit. But for me, if you're fit enough to be on the bench, you're fit enough to play. I don't care. So he should have started Martinelli today. Because, again, Martinelli is somebody that even though his pace has diminished compared to what he had when he first started, he still frightens people. Martinelli will push a team back 5 or 10 yards. I think they looked at Trossard today and looked at Sterling and were like, don't really see any much threat from them two.
Okay, but with regards to Martinelli, and I get that if they're fit enough to be on the bench, they're fit enough to play, but he might not have been fit enough to play 90 minutes. So that's...
Yeah, but again, like I said, hindsight's a wonderful thing. He could have started, we could have gone a goal or so up, and then we could have subbed him, and we could be having a completely different podcast, Amanda. That's the thing. If Bradley Brannan don't climb on the top of the Queen Vic, he might not fall off and die. You know what I mean? We could go around in circles, can't we?
That's an EastEnders thing. I don't watch it anymore. Okay, so the thing what I'd like to discuss as well is how are we going to stop these red cards, Cooks? I mean, none of them have been for violent conduct. They've all been a bit pathetic, if I'm honest. And going back to what you're saying, it is ruining it. I mean, the minute he goes, Saliba, my first thought is I thought it was 3 games. It's not, it's 1. And it's such an important one to miss Liverpool at home. Not only does it ruin the game, your brain goes, what's he missing? Oh, Preston's the week after. What a shame. I can tell you now that you're too young for this, but if you'd have watched Leeds in the 70s and the 80s, they'd have had 6 players off every single game, probably 7 for the way they played within 10 minutes. So football has really, really, really changed. And you're saying these red cards are, they're really for the heavy stuff, and they're not. They're really not anymore. We need 3 cards now. We probably need yellow, amber, and red, because to ruin a game that, and I'm talking not only Arsenal fans, but fans that travel all over the country. Most Arsenal fans have travelled, 3-4 hours today to get down there, and you've done that. Now, everyone's lauding out the Bournemouth have won. Well, they've probably won because we had 10 men. And I'm not discrediting them. They did do well. We weren't terrible in the first half. We just sort of collapsed in the second. But it's ruining games, Cooks. And I'm not just saying this because it's our players all the time. I don't like seeing anyone sent off unless it's violent. I really, violent, terrible tackle and all that. But how do we get around it?
I wish I had the answer to that. Sadly, I just don't. I mean, there's been 4 red cards today, which seems like a hell of a lot on a Saturday Premier League football. So in terms of getting around it, I mean, it's really easy to say, just don't give the referee a decision to make. But in the heat of the moment, when you...
That's the answer, Cookie. You've answered it.
Yeah, but mate, in the heat of the moment, when you're in a situation where you've got a player trying to run beyond you, like the Trossard moment against Man City, for example, you're not thinking about that. I'd be very surprised if the players are thinking, oh, hang on, let me just take a second, take a step back, analyze the situation. What am I going to do? It just doesn't happen because football's a reactionary sport. So they're just going to do what they want to do in that moment of time. So that's part of the problem. But, like I say, in simple terms, we've just not got to let referees be in a situation where they are able to make that sort of decision, where they're able to go and look at the monitor, where they're able to go back and essentially ruin games for us. I mean, I'm not blaming the referee for today because I thought, we've self-inflicted ourselves. But I mean, even going back to the games against City, Brighton, if you really want to nitpick, again, Declan Rice shouldn't kick the ball away. Trossard shouldn't kick the ball away. And I'm seriously nitpicking there because I don't think either of them are red cards. I think, even Trossard's first yellow card against City wasn't even a yellow card. So I don't want to go in on Arsenal for that. But just do not give them the opportunity to show their cards because it's costing us 3 red cards in 8 games. If it carries on like this, we're going to miss half our team throughout the entire season. So we've got to get better at it for sure.
Amanda, you made a reference about we might not be old enough to remember Leeds in the 70s and the 80s, yeah? I'll go back to a time when me and Cookie and yourself can remember. Ironically enough, you used to sit behind me at this time when it was at Highbury. The referees from years and years ago were worse than the ones that are there now because we had referees that couldn't even keep up with the game. If you remember Uriah Rennie, he couldn't even run in time with the players. And they had none of the technology, none of the extra eyes, anything else. And we went a season unbeaten because what happened, like Cookie said, we didn't bring them into the game. We did everything. You have to be, it's what Bernadette put. Stop bringing the conspiracy nonsense and all. Don't give them any chance to do anything. The thing is with this team, and it's happened since bloody William Gallas threw a strop at Birmingham City. When one of them F up, all of them collectively like dominoes. Bang, 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 bang. And there's no one that pulls them out and goes, calm it down, sort yourselves. That's the issue. They all just fall.
I'm going to ask you a question. Double L.
Yeah.
Any other team, does that get called on VAR?
No, of course it doesn't. You know it doesn't.
Well, then why am I a conspiracy theorist? There's exactly as you've said it. We all sat there and everyone on Twitter went, straight away I went, if that is Man City, if that is Liverpool, if that is Tottenham United, whoever, no one's getting a call back. And there was proof that another team had this done and it was a yellow card and everyone played on with, 11 men. So you've slightly, hypocritical there, James, saying to me, oh, stop with the conspiracy nonsense. But how is it a conspiracy nonsense if only Arsenal are going to be pulled back for that?
Well, no,
the referee was there. Listen,
the chat and some of it is making a point that this is the reason that we lost the game. You said about having the 10 men affected the game. It didn't. We were second best to everything even before it was 10 men, Amanda. We were just not at the rate, like people have said as well. We've lost once away all year.
Yeah.
And it's near the end of October. That's something to me that I'm proud of. That shows progress. So chalk this one off. Got a big game midweek in the Champions League. Got an even bigger game next week in the league. But just you got to buck your ideas up. You can't bring them in. Every single red that we've got this season is a red. Declan Rice flicks the ball. Whether you like it or not, that's a red. Trossard boots the ball away. That's a red. And Saliba today, you can't grab around. You can't pull round. That's a red card. Every single one's a red.
But James, I disagree with you in the first half. If you look at the possession, we weren't that bad. We were higher possession than them. I know possession doesn't win games. Yeah. I get that. I've said that.
If you're not doing anything with it, what's possession?
Cooks, do you not believe the 10? Who are you siding with here? Me with the 10 men thing, or James with the fact that we weren't that good anyway before we had someone sent off?
I'm not taking sides, but I would say
don't be Switzerland.
No, I hate to sit on the fence, but I do have to say that I did not see enough from Arsenal in the minutes up until the red cards to suggest that we were going to win this game. I just didn't see it, because we didn't have a shot on target in the first half. We barely created anything. The one clear opportunity I can think of was when we were down to 10 men. I think at the end of the first half when Marino had that shot, which he just pulled wide. And obviously there's the glaring miss that Martinelli just has to bury. Apart from that, we did not creates anything. So I think even if it was 11 versus 11, maybe with a couple of substitutions, I think we'd have kept it at 0-0 because I don't actually think Bournemouth were that great today. I think they just about edged the win, but I don't think they were, head and shoulders above us. I thought we had them contained for the majority of the game, even with 10 men. But the thing is, they took their chances and we certainly didn't. And that was the clear difference today. But yeah, even with 11 versus 11, if that team that we started with played the whole 90 minutes, I don't think we'd have won. I just think the midfield was lacking. I'm not convinced by Sterling yet. Trossard, when he starts games, I'm not overly convinced by him. So I think it's great that we've got squad depth, and in seasons gone by, this is the sort of game that would have pushed Saka through, would have pushed him through his injury, and now we've got someone like Sterling that can come in, we've got someone like Trossard that can come in. But when you're also missing someone like Martin Odegaard as well, when you're also missing Gabriel Martinelli, when you're missing Yuri and Timber, these players are kind of makers tick. It's just one key player too many, and you're ending up with a team that is almost on the verge of being a Carabao Cup side. And that sounds really harsh, but there's a lot of rotation in there that, we've got an entirely new player in Marino coming into the midfield. There's a lot of difference between that team and the one that played the majority of last season and the season before that. So, I still think, we've got quite a few chinks in our armour that we need to iron out. And I do think like a result like this has been on the cards this season. There's been quite a few unconvincing performances. Southampton was the glaring one. We just about got through in that game. Same with Leicester as well. I mean, the argument there is we were so dominant. Their keeper was on fire that day. But again, we need to be more clinical, I think is what I'm trying to say. Someone put in the chat box that if that Martinelli chance falls to Haaland, to Diaz, to Salah, it goes in the back of the net. Martinelli has to score that. And if we go 1-0 up in that moment, I'm pretty confident that we batten down the hatches for the last 20 minutes and we win the game.
Sorry, I'm just having a coughing fit. Yeah, I don't know. I think 11 on that pitch would have made a difference. But, I mean, LL, can you explain what Trossard was doing? Can you explain what Kiwior were doing?
No.
The floor's yours.
No, I mean, the thing for Kiwior, for me, subbing him to then make the attacking subs, that's pathetic from Arteta. He has thrown him well under the bus. He already probably feels like an absolute chump for doing what he's done. But then to sub him, when to sub the sub, that is shocking. That is shocking. He has thrown Kiwior right under the bus there. And that's a guy who, on his day, is a very reliable player. Can do a job when you need him to. So I don't know if that's him now going, oh, you're finito with me, a bit like he did with Tavares all them years ago. And then we're gonna flog him in January to whoever's gonna set. I've said it before that we decrease the value of our players by doing certain things. We leave them out too long and everything else. And that Kiwior was a player that could hold value to somebody, but you've decreased his value by subbing him off in that situation. You should have just left him on and took the loss and then put your arm around him after the game, being like, don't worry, son, it happens. But to sub him, that is shocking. To me, that's shocking.
Do you agree, Cooks?
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't thinking about it at the time because I was so frustrated, and in my mind, I was just like, yeah, just get any attacking player on the pitch. I don't care at this point. But when you look at it in isolation, that is Kiwior. It's disappointing because I actually thought up until that moment that he had, which obviously is a mistake, and it's not a good one. It's a bad one. It's resulted in them getting a penalty. I thought he was really good up until that point. Like, I actually thought, coming in at right centre half, he's a guy that has barely kicked a ball this season, coming into an incredibly difficult game state. I thought he was good. I thought he was fine. He makes one error and that's it. Toys are out of the pram a bit with Arteta. He takes him off. And this is a guy that came on in the second half against PSG in a Champions League game and was fantastic. He's a guy that played left back, an unfamiliar position to him for the most part. In that run of games last season where we were beating teams 4, 5, 6-0 on a pretty consistent basis, he was the left back in pretty much all of those games. He started in the Champions League game against Bayern Munich at home. He's a very good player. And if it was a toss-up between, we had to keep one of Kiwior or Tomiyasu, I'm going for Kiwior all day long at the minute because he's reliable, he's dependable. When you need someone to come on, steady the ship, you know what you're getting from him, whether it's a left centre-half, whether it's a left-back, he is a guy that will come in and do a job, and a decent job. He'll never be a 10 out of 10, but he can definitely give you a 6.5, 7 out of 10. And that's exactly why I really like Jakub Kiwior, on top of the fact that he's pretty much always available. And the fact that we've really, shot his confidence by doing that is a real shame, because we've not got Tomiyasu. I mean, the Tomiyasu setback compounds this as well. Like, it just makes things so much worse. The fact we're going to lose Saliba for Liverpool, we've not got Timber back yet. We don't know what's going on there. Who's going to start a right back in the game against Liverpool if Timber's not fit? I have absolutely no idea. So yeah, it's a real shame. I think if Arteta wants to rectify this, he starts Kiwior against Shakhtar. I think he really should do that, because he's a good player, and you do not want a player like Kiwior, depressed or sad about a moment like this, because he is a very good player. And also, I've got to say, some of the reaction from some of the Arsenal fans to his mistake has been completely unacceptable as well. Like, I saw people comparing him to Mustafi, saying he's a horrible player, can't pass the ball. People have got really, really short memories. Like, this is a guy that played a huge part in where we got to last season. We didn't pay a lot of money for him. He was wanted by a shed load of Italian teams in the summer. Was linked to some really, really big clubs. He's chosen to stay at Arsenal. For all we know, could be against his will. He might have wanted to leave in the summer. He's been professional about it the whole time. I think we've just got to really get behind the guy. It's a mistake. It happens. He's nowhere near as bad of a player as someone like Mustafi was. If we want to make this right, he starts against Shakhtar, and he should do.
Do you agree with that, Elwood? I can see you nodding as well.
Yeah, people seem to forget Liverpool last season in the league. Guy absolutely pocketed Salah. Salah didn't get anywhere near him.
Yeah.
He was, and for me, I agree. I think he should play against Shakhtar. I really do. I think take Calafiori out and play him at left back. And I like Calafiori, but Calafiori for me, he's another one. Beautiful going that way.
Yeah.
But you make Calafiori defend for an Italian defensively. A lot of question marks for me still about him. Calafiori, I'm afraid.
Well, mate, even if it was for me, I'd be inclined to play Kiwior at left centre half. You've got to think, we're not going to have Saliba next weekend. And who's one player that could really do with a rest in this Arsenal team?
Yeah, Gabriel.
Gabriel. Take Gabriel out, play Saliba, Kiwior. We've got Zinchenko back now as well. You could play Zinchenko. You could play Calafiori at left back. I think that's the logical one for me. Will he do it? I highly doubt it, but it's the one I would do.
Sorry, I'm just struggling with my cough tonight. I rate Calafiori, LL. Why don't you rate him at the moment?
Whoa. Don't rate him defensively.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Going that way and everything else, superb player. Gorgeous.
What, another Zinchenko?
Yeah, he's got the Zinchenko vibe. He's Zinchenko, but better looking.
Okay, so Stan the man 68. Agree with James about Calafiori. Seems a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah. The thing is primarily when he played for Bologna, he was a left centre back in a 5. So his tendency is to drift to the middle. So that leaves him criminally exposed. You need to be coaching this guy. You need to stay in that left area. You are just primarily in that left area, and then you invert into the midfield. But when it's a defensive game, he wants to come in the centre again. So that leaves you with 2 on that side and a gap. And that's the problem, that people are reading that and sit. Amanda, I'm just a guy that sits in his bedroom, eats his cookie and his crisps and watches the games. If I'm seeing that and seeing that's a weakness, what are these top tier level coaches thinking? That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, Barry said, thought he had some good defensive moments, Calafiori, some nice clearing headers from crosses, maybe just taking time to bed in a little bit.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's not. It's a faster league. The Italian league's slow. So, yeah, definitely. It's only marginal things, and I think he will get better. Plus, unlike Zinchenko, this guy's young, and he'll learn. Zinchenko is going to be an idiot forever. That's just how it is.
You can't say that. Oh my God. You cannot say that. I don't see Zinchenko like that. Right. You
Oh,
mentioned
well,
before.
okay. So next week when we're playing Liverpool,
Yeah,
you want Zinchenko against Salah, Diaz, Jota,
absolutely not. No,
Gakpo.
I've not.
Why?
I've not
Why do you
said
not
that
want him? Why do you not want
because
him there?
because I agree with you with regards to defence.
Because
In
he can't
midfield, he's
defend.
wonderful.
There you go.
Yeah, but I don't, I don't call him what you call him.
Well,
He's
he's an
had,
idiot
he's had
defensively.
decent games, but defensively, yes, no, no.
Trent's an idiot defensively, but he gets you 10 assists and 10 goals a
Mm.
season, so you can get away with it. Zinchenko doesn't. Sorry.
So you mentioned that we do have a very big week coming up. Oh, actually, before we just go on to that, we all noticed this. Emerson said, Amanda, I made a point. Did you any of you notice that ex-ref Howard Webb was talking to someone on his phone about the penalty decision? Jamie Redknapp, Theo Walcott talk about after. Jamie Redknapp made a massive point in saying it's absolutely outrageous. Arsenal fans shouldn't be discussing it. Of course, he wasn't interfering with play. He was listening to the audio and he has no effect on it. However, he was texting. So who is he texting? I mean, I just don't trust any of them anymore. I'm just, you know what, honestly, if you'd have spoken to me about this about a year ago, I'd have said, you're all mental, you're all conspiracy theories. But every game, I'm starting to see things like what we said. That would never have been called back. That would never have gone to VAR, that yellow card, for any other team but us. So, what do you both think on that, Cooks? Do you think it's just coincidental that the camera just panned to him at that moment and he was texting someone else, or what?
I don't want to believe that he's interfering with the decision. I have a really, really hard time believing that that could have happened because something like that surely would come to light in some point. And if it did come to light, then the whole PGMOL would just have to, but would have to dissolve, wouldn't it? And it'd have to
Yeah.
start again because it would be such a, it would be conspiracy. It would be shocking. It would be corruption, at the highest level. But for all we know, we don't know what he's doing there. For he might not be texting. He might be writing his shopping list down on his phone. He could be, that wire that he has could just be him recording messages. I don't know, but I don't believe that he's intervening in any way, shape, or form to the decision. But it just looks suspect, doesn't it?
Well, Stan the man said, "Who told Jamie Carragher to delete his tweet?" So Jamie Carragher, I saw the tweet. I didn't know it got deleted till after the match. So he's put exactly what we've just said. What's he doing? Is he interfering in play here, or Sorry, I can't think word for word, but he said, "Did he have any effect on it?" So Double L, do you think there's something there, or he's just listening to the audio and he's just texting someone else?
It don't look good. Like you said, don't look good, does it?
No,
Does
I
not
don't think
look
so.
good at all. And the fact that he's tweeted it, and then he's deleted it because the paymasters from Sky have told him he
Yeah,
has to delete it. Let's
yeah,
get it right. After that Liverpool and Spurs situation last season, I can't remember what one of them out of Neville, Carragher, whatever it was going on about it. They cut him. The guy who is it Jones, whatever his name is, the guy who does the Sky. He's like one of their main
yeah.
presenters at the
I
weekend,
can't
Rob
remember his
Jones or
name.
something.
It
Yeah,
is Jones,
he
yeah.
completely cut them off, and it was just like he's getting in the IFB or whatever you call it, the inner ear thing. That's them going, stop it, because again they've all got they've got that program with Owen and Howard. I mean, God knows who watches that. If you're one of the people that watch it, then you're a much better person than I ever will be because I'd rather crap in my hands and clap than watch that program ever. But it's just it don't look good, like you said. So I know some of it with a conspiracy, but that just you're putting the bullets in the gun for me to fire the bullets because it just looks so sus.
Well, we're going to have a little bit of relief from that this week, aren't we? Because we're playing in the Champions League against Shakhtar. We don't have all our English refs and all this going on with the PGM area. We can just play football, hopefully keep 11 men on the pitch, Cooks. So Tuesday evening, we're off to the Emirates. It's my first match back for a long, long time, so I'm really excited about it. I think that the crowd will be up for it under the lights. Champions League, it's what we all love. Who are you going to play? Who would you pick? I mean, obviously we don't know if Saka's going to be fit. The problem I have is there are quite a few good players out now. Timber, Erdegaard, Saka. Do we know if Martinelli's going to be fit on Tuesday? it's hard to see Saka coming back on Tuesday. What do you think?
I'd hope so. I mean, look, if he was in contention to potentially play that game against Finland, I think Arteta's thinking for this game was, look, let's just give him some time off and hopefully get him back fresh. But then, of course, you've got to bear in mind that we've got Liverpool coming up as well. So you don't
Yeah,
want to necessarily play all your best players that are kind of on the edge of being injured as well. So I think Arteta's got a really, really, really tough decision to make. You have to play one of Martinelli or Saka in this game. And Shakhtar, I think, are one of the few teams in the Champions League that you can rotate against. They've not been particularly great. And like someone says in the chat room, definitely play Ethan and Wanyeri in this game. Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'd play Wanyeri. I'd probably stick with a relatively similar to midfield to what we saw today, with the exception of maybe take Marino, one of Marino or Partey out, and play Ethan and Wanyeri. So that would be the main change that I would do. And then I'd have, still Kai Havertz up top. And then one of Martinelli or Saka, probably Martinelli on the left-hand side with Gabriel Jesus on the right-hand side. I'd love to say, let's play Raheem Sterling again. And I know it's really hard to judge him on today's performance, given that he's only played 30 minutes, but I'm still not seeing it just yet. And I know we've got Preston coming up in the Cup. So that's where I'd start him again. And in terms of defence, I would be taking Gabriel out, giving him a breather, play Kiwior at left centre half, show that, we've still got faith in you. And then, we've got players like Zinchenko back, and I don't think people are in a rush to see him at the minute. But look, we've got options. That's what we need. It's just really important for me that whoever starts, we win this game really well. Like, I think we really need a 3-4, maybe if I'm being generous, a 5-0 win. Because look at the games we've got coming up. Liverpool, Inter Milan, Newcastle. Like, it's going to be a really tough. I think actually Inter Milan comes a little bit later in November, but we've got Chelsea coming up. I mean, our next 3 league games, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea. It's not really going to get much tougher than that. And we've started off post-international break in the worst possible way. This was the game we had to win. We now definitely have to beat Liverpool. And I think, to be honest, we've probably got to get 9 points out of 9 from these next games in the league.
Yeah, true. Excuse me, sorry. James, talk to me about who you would play on Tuesday evening at the Emirates.
Well, I hate to get splinters in my bum and sit on the fence, but depends who's fit, doesn't it? I think Cookie again spot on of one of Saka or Martinelli. I mean, we know Martinelli's fit because he played today, so he definitely goes in for me. But it's a case of, out of your Trossard, out of your Sterling, and out of your Jesus, these are players that you need to get back, and you need them to get back scoring. So I feel that Arteta's probably going to pick one of those 3 players, because you need to get, if they score and their confidence goes up and then they bang them in for fun from there on, he looks a genius, don't he? It's a completely different thing to what we're discussing now. It's just, are you going to get that? I don't know enough about Shakhtar, I'm afraid, to give a real sort of preview on them and what they're about. But I believe whoever we put out there, especially at home, we're strong enough to get that done. And yeah, I do think there should be changes. I again agree with Cookie. I think take somebody out of the back line, and yeah, definitely make that one in the middle. But yeah, I wouldn't begrudge him withholding Saka until the weekend at all, because Saka for me is too important. If you've still not got Odegaard for this stretch of time, you need Saka. So I wouldn't be playing Saka when you don't necessarily have to.
I agree. I'd keep Saka for Sunday. So let's just do some predictions. Let's start with Shakhtar. Cooks.
I think we have to win. We have to win well. So I trust the team to bounce back after today. I'm going to go 3-0.
Double L.
2-0. 2-0 for me.
I'm going to go 2-1. Okay. So then, oh God, sorry. Let's see what so people are pretty positive for Tuesday night. Kevin thinks 3-1. Puran thinks 3-0. I think we'll win. I think today was just a blip. I really do. So we've got Liverpool coming up. Massive, massive match next Sunday, Cooks. I mean, it's, as I said, we have nothing for a couple of weeks and then all coming thick and fast with Shakhtar, Liverpool. I mean, Preston. That's where I'd play Zinchenko, not on Tuesday evening. And then we got Newcastle away, which is the game I've been waiting for since last season, since I was on the radio with that Geordie and I was going mental about Gabriel and that goal. That goal will stay with me forever. But Rob might have a point regarding Saka. Give Saka a brief run out from the bench on Tuesday to get him ready for Sunday. That I can go in line with. Emerson thinks 3-1, so that's quite good. Look at these positives, which is lovely to see, considering how we feel today. So now we go to Sunday, Cooks. I mean, do you feel positive about it? We haven't got Saliba. We will have Saliba Tuesday evening, obviously. We haven't got Saliba. So just going to come to you both and see who would your back four be. So have a little think. And if they're fit. I mean, do we know what's wrong with Timber? That's gone quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's the worry, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know when he came off against PSG, it just seemed like not much of a big deal. But it's kept him out for a bit of a chunk of time now. And you'd hope that he's in contention to play on Tuesday. I mean, it seemed like he was very much in contention to play this game, but we need him for Liverpool. Absolutely. We need him to play that game.
Okay, so who would be in your back four? It's hard, isn't it?
Probably Timber, White, Gabriel, Calafiori.
Do you agree with that, Els? Double L, are you going with someone else?
If everybody's fit, yeah, that's the best. That's the best back four to play, because right now on current form used to be Tommy Asu, but I haven't seen him enough to judge it. Julian Timber is our best defender 1v1 against wingers, so he's definitely got to play against Liverpool. Majority of all their stuff comes down the side, so you need a Timber. To me, he's that important. He's been that brilliant this season. Like you got fans of other clubs. Oh, one player don't make a difference. I'm telling you now, if we had Julian Timber last season as well as this season, I think it would have made a huge difference. He's that good already. From what I've seen, I think he would have made that big of a difference. So yeah, if Timber can be back for Liverpool, it'd be massive, absolutely massive. And yeah, I would move Ben White to centre back again and do it that way, because I know Timber can do both. But yeah, he's put him at right back and White, Gabriel, and Calafiori. Yeah.
You say one player doesn't make a team. Yeah, first loss, Saka's not playing. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly.
But no Odegaard as well.
No but we've won without Odegaard, Cooks. We've been winning without him.
But not without him and Saka.
Yeah,
and then you compound it with no Martinelli and no Saliba for the entire life. They're four of our best players. Yep. Obviously, it's going to have an impact.
Absolutely, and that's what annoyed me about the fact that they're raving about Bournemouth. And you need to look at the fact of why they won. We had predominantly 4 or 5 brilliant players out. So that's what I'm going with anyway. So give me your predictions, Double L, for Sunday. What do you think?
I need to see who's fit and everything, Amanda. Sorry, I'm gonna.
No, you can't.
I can't predict for Liverpool on now. It's too far away.
All right, you need to tell me at the end of the week. All right.
Yeah.
Just what's happening.
Without knowing who's fit and without seeing how we play on the midweek, I can't tell you about Liverpool right now.
Well, I can. I'm going 2-1 again to us.
Nice. I hope so.
I know you do. We all do. Cooks.
Likewise, I think I need a bit of time just to think about it, because at the minute, if you ask me right now, with the players that we've got Crocs and with the uncertainty over Saka, Timber, I can't say that we're going to win. Like whilst that's still so up in the air. So yeah, give me a couple of days. Let's get Shakhtar out of the way, then I'll let you know.
Yeah. So I'm hoping everyone's finding this cathartic, because it's quite unusual for us to lose. So it's quite hard to do a podcast. I'm glad we had 45 minutes to calm down a little bit and not go straight away. It's a bad day at the office. It's one of those games, and it might be something that, as you say, we have had a couple of games that we've been a bit under par in and won. So it might shunt them a bit. And Declan Rice did say they've just had a long chat as a team. So it could be a good thing. Not saying losing's ever good, but I'm trying to see the positive side of it. Um, so couple of questions, and then we'll get you lovely people out of here and try and enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Cole Stark wants to know, have we been playing badly this season and been lucky with results until today? We've sort of covered it, but just want a yes or a no, Double L?
To answer it yes or no, I'm going to say no.
Okay. Cooks?
It's really hard to give a straight yes or no, but I don't know if you saw Alan Algar.
It's a yes or no. It's yes or no, Cookie. I
can't
wanted to go into detail, but I got told it was yes or no.
Oh well, if you want me to give it a straight yes or no, haven't been playing this season, been lucky with the result. No.
You can go into detail if you want, W. I'm not going to
Are we
stop
allowed?
you talking. Yes, go on.
Okay, well, for me, I've seen different sides of the coin of an Arsenal side that I didn't know was there. So I don't necessarily think that's bad. Plus, also, with all the red cards that we've had, we've not been able to play the usual game that we want to play. We've not been able to show the Arsenal side that we all know and love and think, oh, that's what the team that was bashing 6 goals and beating everybody away, who put the ball in the team's net chant type team. We've not been able to see that this season. So I don't necessarily think we've been bad. Have we been as good as we were last year? No, but I don't think we've been bad, but we've definitely rode our luck. But that's not because we've been bad. Just, we're just making silly mistakes and doing silly things. But yeah, like today. Today's a punch. Big punch. And it's how you recover from that now going forward. And I hope they do. I mean, take Rice's example after the game and channel that into not making those mistakes again.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate, Cooks?
No, I'll keep it brief. But what I was going to say was, I don't know if you saw Alan Algar and me had a bit of back and forth on Twitter. He was saying some of the results this season aren't even going to get us in the top 4, which I think was, I'm going to say from Alan, probably a heat at the moment type comment. But knowing him, he was probably deadly serious about that. I think just to exactly what JJ said, we've played 3 games this season out of 8, which is quite a big sample size with 10 men for large portions of those games. So we've not really seen the proper Arsenal in 3 of those games. I thought in the first half against Brighton, we were really good until the red card. I thought in the game against Wolves, it was classic start of the season type game. We still managed to win it. I thought against Villa, away from home, we were excellent in that game. Spurs away from home, given the injuries we had, given that we had Partey and Jorginho in midfield, we were excellent. Really good defensive performance. Won that game well. I think given the injuries, the refereeing decisions that have gone against us, the red cards, I can't judge Arsenal at the minute, because what I need are 5 games with our strongest team to be like, okay, this is where we're at the minute. But I still think to be where we are, given everything that's happened and the games we've played as well, like we've done City away, we've done Villa away. Okay, we should have won today, but we're still in a very healthy position. Worst case scenario, if Liverpool win with 4 points off top and we play them next week, so we could bring that straight back down to 1 point against them. So no, I'm not worried, but I do think we need to definitely buck up our ideas in terms of what we saw today, and we've got to win our next 3. Newcastle beatable, Chelsea beatable, Liverpool at home, win that, send out a message. No reason why we can't get 9 points out of 9 in our next games.
It is a little bit dramatic, though, isn't it? That someone's saying, oh, today, that's it, they've lost the league. We're in October. It is a bit pathetic. I can't stand all that. It's probably done for clickbait. And I think what Karen's saying is right. Hopefully today's, performance and result gives them a kick up the backside, because I think that's what they need. So, boys, thank you for an hour of chatting about a game that probably none of us want to chat about. Remember, just move on. Bad day at the office. Thanks to everybody for joining us. If you'd like to subscribe, please do, because we will be back. We've been a bit AWOL lately because of the internationals, but we'll be back with post-game shows for Liverpool. We'll be discussing Shakhtar. So please hit the like button, subscribe, and press the bell notification so you don't miss a show. Thank you, Mr. Stark. That's exactly what I was going to say. And everyone on audio, if you could press 5 stars or whatever you do, and give us a follow, that's fantastic. And thank you, Puran, just subscribed. Really, thank you. I thought you was a first time viewer. So thank you for that. Really appreciate
Well, there you
it.
go. He's made up for the ones that have unsubscribed because I was on. So there you are.
Yeah, I
Be
think
happy
you
with
value yourself too high. No one's unsubscribing because you're on.
that. Oh,
Everyone loves
me,
you.
trust me.
Everyone
Trust
loves
me.
you.
Your
it's
chat can't abide me half the time.
Oh, be quiet.
It's
They love
fantastic.
you. We love you. So Saturday evening, please, everybody, try and enjoy your evening. We're going to go off. I don't think any of us are going to watch Match of the Day, considering Tottenham won. I don't want to see that either. Nah, Match of the Day will be off my Sky planner. From all of us at the Same Old Arsenal, we'd like to thank LL Cool J, our guest. Thank you for coming back. We love having you. It is time for us to say goodbye. Remember, always Arsenal. Good night, everyone. See you soon. I've got to find the outro. Where's the video gone? I'm waving to everybody. There's no video. I'm just going to have to end it. I do apologise. Keep
Man's getting
waving.
tired.